I want to make this video really quickly in between shoots right now for that roofing company who's currently only relying on referrals. And the truth is, please figure out how to do some type of marketing, how to get leads in some way that isn't just referrals. Because you may not believe me, and don't get me wrong, hi, I'm Carl Stoy. If you've never met me, I run Stoy Media, and over the past year and a half, we've worked with home service businesses and other businesses and just help them with paid ads and helping them grow and get more opportunities to sell. And I see this time and time again, specifically in the home service industry, but I want to really talk about to the roofing company owners. Because after a certain amount of time, whether you like it or not, the leads dry up. The referrals dry up. Eventually they do. Because if you're not actively trying to get your name out there, or at least working with lead vendors, which Stoy Media is, at least working with the lead vendor or getting some type of external lead source that isn't just based on the grace of a homeowner, it eventually dries up. It doesn't happen this week, doesn't happen this month, doesn't happen this year, but maybe next year, maybe the year after that. The referrals tend to dry up. I can tell you that truly. Unless you continuously market. And that doesn't mean just marketing. You don't have to work with Stoy Media. You just need to figure out how to consistently get leads somehow. Because until you figure out how to consistently get leads somehow, you're always going to be reliant on someone else's just grace. On someone else. And there's nothing wrong with just relying on grace. But what I'm trying to say here is eventually the leads run out. Eventually the referrals run out. And eventually you scramble. And it's kind of like a peak and a trough. You peak, you start getting more referrals and more referrals and more referrals. 3 years in, you may be at the maximum referrals, or 5 years in, you may be at your maximum referrals, or whatever, however long you've been in business. You get to this maximum of referrals. And then in this moment, you have all this money because you're not spending anything on marketing. Your projects don't have any marketing margin inside of them. So it's free leads. They just come in and they're interested. They close 90%. Like, what could be better than that, right? And you grow maybe a $1, $2, $3 million business just like that. And in that situation, you think everything's going to be all right. You think everything's going to last like this forever. But unfortunately, it will not last like that forever until you take that exit ramp that you're already up here. You can take that exit ramp to start marketing because you have all this free budget. And most people in this situation say, wow, look at all this budget. I got all this money because I'm not spending anything on marketing. They're coming in free. The appointments are closing like nuts. Life is good. But what you don't see is 2 years from then when the leads start to dry up and you find out how that doesn't work. You need something to consistently be able to get you leads. Like I said, whether a lead vendor, a marketing agency. And maybe if you are in this situation, you're at your peak, you're like, yeah, life is good. We're only relying on referrals. 9 out of 10 appointments close. We're good. In that moment, everything may seem okay, but it doesn't unless you start getting leads, until something starts happening. And what happens if you don't? Let's say what happens if you don't. Okay, what happens when you get to your peak, you don't ever market? What ends up happening is in that situation where you had all this money, now let's say the leads start going down. Let's say you got half as many leads you did. And in that situation, now you have half the cash and you start to realize, oh, I need to market. Like I finally need to market. I need to get my name out there. I need to start working with lead vendors, or I need to do something. And then in that situation, you're going to get burned. The truth is, when you work with any marketing agency, there's a high likelihood that you may be burned. I mean, of course, if you work with Stoy Media, we can put together something. That reputation's on the line here. And so in that situation, unless you hit the home run first try, you may get burned and you may lose money and you may have to figure out how to recoup that. But unless you recoup that, I mean, you lost money. And in those situations, as the referrals start to die down and you start having less money, you start getting really squeezed for doing anything. And having an agency that may charge you, $3,000 a month just to run your ads, and then another $3,000 for ad spend, $6,000 a month sounds really out of reach. Even with that video I made on my channel called how much, or the benchmarks for a home service business is marketing. Check out that video. It essentially tells you how much you should be spending depending on your revenue, your monthly revenue. But you get to that point and $6,000 a month isn't even plausible. You can't even do that. You're closing maybe 1 or 2 projects a month now, or a significantly less amount, and $6,000 a month in marketing means you have to pay yourself less, which your lifestyle doesn't allow anymore because now you're locked in this, $24,000 a month lifestyle that you're in, and you can't give up $6,000. That's like half. That's like a lot of money that you would need to take out of your personal spending. Which I think that's a reason why a lot of roofing company owners don't ever want to spend anything on marketing, because when you're only relying on referrals, spending money on marketing means you need to take money out of your own budget, like the budget you send to yourself, and that's quite hard for some people to do, unfortunately. But you kind of need to do that, and eventually, when the when the referrals die down, you'll have less money on marketing, and working with a marketing agency or a lead vendor is really out of reach. What would be normal and very plausible for you to spend $60 to $100 per lead now is like, whoa, $100 per lead. I can't even fathom that. I can't even fathom cutting out $200 out of the projects because now we're going so cheap. We just need to close something, and you get down this rabbit hole of now you have less leads. Now you're charging less because you're desperate and you need to close projects. And when you charge less, people trust you less. It's actually a really bad combo you got there. And I promise you, we've seen the roofing companies who do this. They go down that path. It's just them and maybe one person installing now. The team is really lean. This is a specific instance that I'm talking about. And now they're charging $100 a square, and they are really not able to close anyone. Even though they may be the cheapest bid by a long shot, they're not able to close anyone because they're charging like $150, $300 a square, which is insane, insanely cheap. And they're not able to close anything because people don't even trust them. Their price is so cheap. And so I really urge you, please figure out how to get leads without relying on referrals before it's too late. That's the best way I could summarize this.